So, I remember, I sat with sort of my mentor that helped me find my spirituality, and they had me write down, okay, what is your higher power? What is your God? You know, let's come up with some things that we can think about. And for now, to start off, this is what you're going to rely on. So I said, okay. So we sat there. This is at the Flying M coffee shop in Boise. To give you
Hmm.
an idea, I've done a lot of all my good thinking, and like
Yeah.
all my good spiritual things happen there. I was like, okay, well, I wanted to be my community, so I wrote down my community, the LGBTQ plus people, um, and then some reasons, right? So I'm like, okay, to be a better advocate for my community and defend, their their human rights and freedom, and that's what I started off with, and then it turned into, um, a feminine energy up in the sky. I use
Mm.
La Virgen de Guadalupe, which I am sure a lot of my Latinx queer people are familiar with, who is, who is a saint that, we pray towards. The story about her is that there was an indigenous man named Juan Diego, that discovered her image or her appearance up in a mountain up in a part of like Aztec Mexico at the time, and she was just this magical appearance, and you know was so beautiful, and was just everyone was just dumbfounded when she appeared, and he went down to like the village and was telling everybody about it, but no one believed him.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, like, her like a picture of her, and I'm sure everyone knows what she looks like. She's got the green robe, and there's like an angel below her, and she's brown and beautiful. And she appeared on his, I believe on his like robe, because in all the stories and all the pictures they have of the story, he's wearing white, and she magically appeared on him, and everyone was like, oh wow, like she wasn't lying.
Mm.
And Juan Diego, that's who we're talking about, she.
Right.
And everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, like you're right, like she's real." And my mom has a huge reliance on her and our Virgen Morena, and I use her as my spiritual guide. I use her because she's indigenous and brown, and
Hmm.
I trust anything indigenous and brown, and because she was a woman.
Yeah.
I believe that my higher power is a feminine energy. I believe that women are the vessel of life and of all things wonderful. Um, and the people that I am that have given me my rights and freedoms have been trans women of color and women of
Hmm.
color, and any femme presenting, individual that had it a lot harder than I definitely did today, especially growing up in Boise, Idaho.
Right,
You would
right.
think it would be harder, but it was pretty easy here.
Mm.
So I pray to her. That is what I focus on. That's what I use. And I pray for other people. I never pray for selfish things. Prayer is a big part of it. I know it's crazy. A lot of people are like, "Ooh, queer people don't pray. We pray to Beyonce." I'm like, well, you can do that too.
Right.
But that is one of the things that yeah, that's what my God is. And also sometimes it's literally just this bright flicker of rainbow colored light in the sky. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Hmm.
If I don't overthink exactly what my higher power is, the day gets better. So,
Right.
does that answer your question?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was,
it
it's
totally.
like, it's so many things.
No, it was great, and I totally relate to what you said too. So it sounded like you initially kind of developed like principles or like a way of life, like a better way of life, or maybe a
Mhm.
higher calling, if you will, and then that led you to Guadalupe. Was Guadalupe part of your like childhood too, or was this a new person in your life, a new deity?
She was a part of my childhood. So, Catholic religion is very has her, how do I say this? Oh, words English. Um, the Mexican Catholic religion uses her a lot in the biblical stories and in the teachings, when you go to church.
Hmm.
We talk about her, and usually, and if there is, a Catholic church that holds services for Hispanic, Spanish speaking individuals, there will be a giant portrait of her on the wall, and it is beautiful. And
Mhm.
so, yes, it was a huge part of my childhood because, my mom had pictures of her on the wall. I had, till this day, I have a gold, chain necklace with her, a little, like, medallion of with her in it, it's very detailed. So and, we have the candles, with her on 'em, so it's a huge part of my childhood, huge.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
And how does your spirituality relate to your drag? Or what does
Ooh,
drag do for you? Yeah.
what does drag do for me, and how does my spirituality relate to it? Um, so if I could describe it, it would just be, there's just this energy, this magic of this fire that we literally all have in our heart. And I mean, I believe that like help me out here because you went to school a lot longer than I did. But our heart beats like because of like like I don't know, magnetic energy, right?
Mm,
That we have some kind of power running through our body that's making our heart beat, making our blood flow. And when I am in face, when I'm in drag, when I'm blonde, long hair Frida, it is like I have transported into another dimension, and I am with my spiritual power
mm,
that I'm honestly just not with on the daily, presenting as regular little short hair femme Frida, right? I
mhm,
mean, I find it there once in a while. She's there most of the time, but it fills me with that energy, and I'm even more confident. I'm even more vocal. I'm even more powerful, and I feel stronger. So that's how I feel when I get into drag. And
mhm.
it actually comes out in my performances. Not to brag, but she's a dancing queen and a trick queen for a
Yes.
reason.
Mhm,
I couldn't do the things I do when I'm, not in face that I do when I'm on stage. Sometimes I'll sit there and I'll like watch a video and I'm like, "Oh gosh, is that really me?"
mhm. Yeah,
So
you're
it's just,
amazing.
"Oh, stop it. You're amazing too."
No, like, in different I ain't gonna be dancing like you dance and you perform, it's just like, it's just I'm really impressed, every time I see you. And I know what you're talking about, like, I feel like people can see that and feel that, like, that there's something within you that's feeding that or whatever, like, and it's coming out, and I think that comes out on the audience and the folks that, get to meet you, whether it is in your everyday Frida or even in your drag persona, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that it's like that for all performers. So that's what I feel spiritually when I'm in drag, and yeah, it's undescribable. And what has my spirituality done for my drag, right? That was the other part of the question.
Mhm.
Um, it has given me the ability to share that love and that vulnerability to tell the story. Um, you know, I'm sure we can all agree, we do it for the sometimes we do it for the gig and because the money's good, right? But for me, being on stage and performing is so much more than that. It's about sharing a story and making everyone else feel those emotions and that pain. Or I remember when we did the the fundraiser show for the harm reduction project here in Boise at the balcony. I believe that you were there.
Mhm.
That was one of those performances. I was able to share my pain on stage with a song and with movement, and people got it.
Yeah.
So that's what it's really done for my drag. It's taken it to another level.